A very nice way of putting what I do is I try and make people better than they are, whether that physically, mentally, spiritually, but I go about it in a way of fitness. Try, and I always say this, whenever I start with a client, my goal, my mission statement is to leave them better than when I met them. So by that I mean I leave them more educated, I leave them physically fitter, looking better, feeling better, happier. That's always my goal. So, sometimes I have a lot of success with that, sometimes not as much, but my mission statement is very clear. When I meet somebody, I want to leave them feeling better. As a personal trainer, it's very important to understand that you can give people what they want, but you also have to give them what they need.
To get somebody fit, they just need to do a lot of simple stuff. When I started educating myself thoroughly about nutrition, about food, about cleaning, about recovery, the deeper I got into it, I started understanding that it's all very simple and structured. If you try to break it down, it's not as complicated as you think it is. But the results seem to be very far-fetched, right? So people try to think that you can't get it easily, so it has to be some rocket science to it.
What's up, guys? So today on the FitCru Show, well, I'm super excited. Well, I'm your host, Prateek Kumar, and I am so thrilled that something from my vision board has actually come true. There are a lot of things that have actually manifested, but today is something that I wrote down probably 4 years back, and I actually speak about this when we are chatting with Neal. Well, yes, I'm just so excited. You can know our guest today is Neal. He's an international fitness trainer. He's a champion kickboxer whose discipline and dedication has shaped so many lives that you see on the big screen. Well, they are celebrities, athletes, fitness enthusiasts all over the globe, with a career spanning over 3 decades. Drew's journey from a competitive kickboxer to a sought-out coach offers a wealth of knowledge. He was one of the few people that I actually reached out to initially when I started working out and I saw him train, not because he was of the fairer skin, but because he was just focused on delivering results to his clients when I saw him on the gym floor. And compared to all the other trainers that I was seeing out there who were pumping a lot of weight and making the clients do a lot of extra work, this guy really was calm and knew his stuff really well. So I had to get to know him better. I started building up a conversation with him, and he was as warm as he always is. He always entertained me, and he did allow me to ask whatever questions I had, to a point where today he's actually agreed to come on this show. So originally from the United Kingdom and now a prominent figure in the Indian fitness industry, Drew has not only trained the best of the best, whether it's Farhan Akhtar, Arjun Kapoor, Shivani Akhtar, and other celebrities that I can't even name right now. He's also been a pivotal part of their success stories. So let's dive deeper into what a coach or what a trainer can actually offer to their clients with nobody other than Neal. Welcome, sir. Welcome on the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. This has been a long time coming. And we spoke about this probably 6 months back. Unfortunately, then my diary was just crazy busy, but I wanted to do it. So I reached out to you again, literally a week ago, and this is how professional and fast you are. You said, let's do it on Sunday, and here I am.
Yeah. This is the first time we're doing a podcast on Sunday. This is the first time we've all come to office on Sunday. But
oh, really?
Absolutely. We wouldn't, we had to make this happen, right?
So Sunday is my day. It's my one day off. I do my online clients in the morning. I do the phone calls, but from face-to-face clients, I don't do anything on Sunday. So honestly, it was the one day that I had. So I'm glad you could, oblige me and do this.
So for our listeners, for our viewers, everybody who's watching it on YouTube, Spotify, wherever they're seeing it, hearing it, can you tell them what is it that you do and why do you do it?
So I guess a very nice way of putting what I do is I try and make people better than they are. Whether that's physically, mentally, spiritually, whatever it is, but I go about it in a way of fitness. So I'm a personal trainer, and I advise people on their lifestyles, whether it's nutrition, whether it's training, motivation, inspiration, whatever it is. So yeah, I try, and I always say this, whenever I start with a client, my goal, my mission statement is to leave them better than when I met them. So by that I mean I leave them more educated, I leave them physically fitter, looking better, feeling better, happier. That's always my goal. So, sometimes I have a lot of success with that, sometimes not as much, but my mission statement is very clear. When I meet somebody, I want to leave them feeling better.
Wow. That's a very simple way of putting a very big task.
It's a massive topic.
Exactly.
So, like, there's barriers and there's bits and there's loads of things to that. But, if it, in simple terms, that's it. The nuances of what I do and how I do, yeah, I'm sure we're going to go into that detail. But in a nutshell, that's what I do.
Yeah, I mean, because like when you said it, for me, like I'm just very like structured in my head. Like I have this OCD kind of thing in my brain that goes like, okay, so you're leaving them better. So then there's exercise, movement, nutrition, recovery, mindset coaching, pantries, maybe behavior, environment.
All these things.
How are you working on it? When you're probably spending what, 3 hours a week with every client, 4 hours a week every client?
Yeah, so most of my clients here obviously varies. Some clients I train every single day. Some clients are trained 2, 3, 4 times a week. Mm-hmm. It just depends. It depends very much on, their lifestyle. I think with as a personal trainer, it's very important to understand that you can give people what they want, but you also have to give them what they need. So sometimes if people have got hectic lifestyles and they can only train once a week, that's all well and good, but you have to try and educate them that twice is literally twice as good, 3 times is even better. So yeah, I spend as much time as I can with my clients and as much time as they can, but yeah, like once, twice a week, I don't really train anybody like that. I try and be a little bit more in their face. Mm-hmm. I'm a firm believer that the more contact I have with somebody, the more influence I can have on them. So yeah, as frequently as possible, I'll be face to face with my clients.
Oh, yeah, but that's what I wanted to know. So the way I work is like, even I try to educate my clients.
Yeah.
But it's more around nutrition, less about exercise, because that's my niche. I've selected nutrition as my goal because I wanted help with nutrition.
Of course.
And I honestly, I couldn't find somebody over here who could help me out with my schedule, with my lifestyle issues, goals, and just make nutrition simple for me. So I was like, let's try to do it for myself. And then when I started doing it for myself, I was like, okay, I can help others.
Of course.
Yeah. The same kind of story, if I can do it, you can do it. Like, but then I probably spend like 2 hours or 3 hours just educating them on nutrition, and that itself is a task.
Of course.
But you are able to spend like probably 3, that's what I was saying, like spend 3 or 4 hours a week, but educate them on so many different things. Like, how do you do it? Like, how do you manage to speak to them while training maybe, or like?
Yeah, so the first thing that I do when I meet any client is I just try and do a deep dive into everything that they've done in the past.
Okay.
With that, I can kind of learn what kind of person they are. I can see how motivated they are. I can see their emotional content to food or training, whether they enjoy food, whether they enjoy training. I kind of work out who and where they are. Everyone's different. Yeah. Everyone's on their own little journey. And then I'll try and figure out, what they actually want to achieve. What's their goal? Are they getting ready for a holiday? Are they getting ready for a movie role? Whatever their role is, or whatever their goal is. And then I break it up. So of course I have to focus on nutrition. You know how important nutrition is when it comes to being healthy and having that lifestyle. And then of course I focus on the training. So the more that I'm face to face with people, in a training session, it's quite strange because yes, you're training them, but what I'm trying to do also is, of course, I'm getting them to do the exercise, but I'm also trying to get them to learn why they're doing it. But I'm also trying to pick information from them, like, what did you eat last night? How did you sleep? And these are all very easy questions that you can just throw out there when they're doing a mid-set or something like that after their set is finished. So I'm just trying to absorb as much information, and from that I can then give them the feedback and hopefully educate them in what they need to know. So I'm personally, I have got online clients, I have got an online system, but I really love face-to-face.
Yeah.
Like I can't express how much I get from it. That one-on-one communication, that one-on-one time is just so valuable. And then I can really, really get into the nitty-gritty of what's working for them, what's not working for them, and just help them as much, the best I can.
That sounds cool. But so how did you, so I do know that you were into martial arts, right?
Yes.
You weren't training anybody back then.
So, it's really strange. I started very quick history. I started training in martial arts when I was 5 years old. So I've always
5 years old.
Yeah.
My son's 5 years. Okay, I can't imagine him. Okay, yeah, okay.
But I did it because my brother did it. He was my hero, so I wanted to follow in his footsteps. So I got into martial arts. Obviously, through martial arts, I learned about being fit. Obviously, I always say this, but there's no motivation more to getting fit than getting punched in the face. and if I can get fit and not get punched in the face, that's what I'm going to do. And in kickboxing, I was getting punched in the face if I wasn't fit. And I learned that very quickly. So I thought, okay, I need to work out, at a very young age, I need to train. And I was so passionate, I was so driven. And my dad helped me a lot. And my mom, they both pushed me really well. But I just had a love for it instantly. But that also went into other sports. Any sport I guess I was really competitive, and I was pretty okay at most sports, whether it be athletics, basketball, football, rugby, cricket to an extent, although I realized my cricket is nothing when I come to India because everyone is so damn good at cricket here that in the UK I was okay. Here I'm useless.
Okay.
But every sport that I kind of took up, I was okay at. I was pretty good.
But that's because you're physically fit.
It's because of the fitness that I got from martial arts, the coordination that I got from martial arts, and I guess the mentality of being competitive has just really paved the way for me. So because of my martial arts, it just seemed a very logical transition that I would head down the career of a sport in some direction. So obviously, after all my studies, my university, everything, it was very apparent that I was going to be in some kind of sport role. And I was very fortunate that my cousin, of all people, got me a job at the local gym.
A dojo?
No, it was actually a hotel gym of all things. Okay. So the gym was a very small, it wasn't like a very commercial gym. It was a very nice hotel, so we had a nice gym.
And this was in the UK?
This is in the UK.
Oh, right.
So when I was 18, I started working there. And it looked like I was going to go into more managerial role. I mean, after a few years, I became the manager of this gym and did all those things. And then I realized, doing a managerial role is a lot more paperwork. It's a lot more of the admin side to the actual physical side.
Yeah.
So I came out of that and I became a personal trainer. Again, at another gym, but I was a freelance trainer. And then various roles, they got me again to be a manager of the gym. Damn. So I fell back into it, but it was a different gym, so it was a fresh challenge. I like to have challenges. So if someone says, "Could you do this?" I'm pretty sure I'll give it a shot. I'll try. So
what if someone says you can't do?
Yeah. It's even more. It's like a red rack to a bull. It's like I'm going for it. So I went through different gyms, both in managerial roles, both as trainers and things like that. But going back slightly, I actually started teaching martial arts when I was 14, which is it's like crazy. It might have even been early. It might have been 13. But I actually had, I don't know if this was an entrepreneurial part of me or whatever, but at 13 years old, my dad helped me, obviously, but I hired out a hall in my area where I lived, and I taught kickboxing classes 3 times a week.
When you were 13?
When I was 13. And obviously, that was valuable. I was teaching kids. I didn't teach adults at that point, but I was teaching people of my peer, my age, and perhaps a little younger. But I got a real taste for it. And from that, I knew that being in front of people, coaching people was absolutely the way I wanted to go. And then obviously, because I was still heavily competing in martial arts and kickboxing, I did it alongside. So although I was fighting all the way through to my early 30s, I was a personal trainer at 18. So I was just doing the two. So I was training myself and I was training other people, and it married each other. It was a perfect fit. It worked. And I'm a firm believer that trainers should lead from the front. Yep. So I would never get my clients to do something that I couldn't do or wouldn't do. So, and I know you're the same. So I have to be in shape. So when I was teaching people, I would often just train with them and do the same thing. Now it's a little harder. I'm a little older, so I'm training younger people. Maybe they're a little fitter than me, but I won't let them see that because I'm still competitive as well.
Oh no way, no way.
I'm still competitive.
Yeah.
So that was, very quickly how I got into teaching and coaching. But when I stopped fighting in my early 30s, when I retired from fighting, I went heavily into coaching, and I opened my kickboxing school, which I opened that before, but I got more involved in my kickboxing school and training the next champions, which was, I won't say it was as satisfying as winning the titles myself, but it was enough to fill my passion, I trained a few world champions, and I hold them very close to my heart, and they did a lot for me, and I'm hoping they would say the same, that I did a lot for them. But their victories were kind of my victories as well. It's like when you're in that coaching role, this, when you're coaching someone, if someone achieves something, yes, they've done the work, but I'm part of the process. You're part of the process into that. And I'll take no real credit in it because they've done all the hard work. But the guide and to be a part of that journey with that person is really special.
I'm getting goosebumps right now while talking.
It's really special. Then,
yeah, because when you get somebody to reach their goals, and like you can be a part of their journey, or just be that person who says, okay, don't take right, take left.
Correct.
Don't do this, do this. And they're like, oh, you know what? You gave me these pointers and I've reached where I wanted to reach. Like a small story, we don't really need to air this, but so you train Farhan, right?
Yes.
So Shabana Azmi.
Yes.
She was prepping for a role, and she's a client. She went to 3-4 people, and she was like, I need to lose 12 kgs for a role for an Amir Khan movie. And she's talking in some party, and one person told that you need to go to Pratik if you want to drop weight. You have 2 months, just go to him and he'll sort you out. She was at 84 kgs. In 2 months, we got her to 72 kgs. She's some 72 years. Wow, I don't even know how old she is.
It's incredible, man.
Yeah, but I'm just so freaking proud of her. And then the day she sent me a message that I'm going for my look test, this is what I weigh, and I'm really nervous. I was like, yeah, don't worry, we'll nail it. At the end of the look test, she messaged me. She's like, Pratik, we did it. I was like, no, we didn't do it, you did it. She's like, no, we did it. And I mean, these are the small things. And okay, she's a celebrity and all that jazz, but I know how important it was for her to do that.
So you say it's small, and we shouldn't belittle what we do. And I think this is important for trainers out there to understand. We have a massive impact on people's lives, and I'm not talking like in grandiose terms. I'm not overstating it, but we really, really do. And I think people have to take responsibility. Trainers have to take responsibility for that. So if trainers, they have a responsibility to educate, to help, to assist every client that they come in front of. So there's no time for not doing 100%. I give 100% in everything that I do, but with my clients, it's so important for me to give everything, because I know that I'm shaping their thoughts, their body, their motivation. Everything that I say is being listened to. I hope they listen to me.
Yeah,
but it's powerful, like we have a real big impact on these people.
Yeah.
And I know this because I've been the other side. I had an amazing coach when I was in my early teens. And I'm talking about him now. I'm 44 now. So that's like, it's 30 years ago. And rest in peace, he's passed now. But Vincent Lewis had such an impact in my life, in my teens, that I talk about him now and I hold him in such high regard, that if I can have that impact on other people, then my job's done. Then I'm happy. That's all I need in this world. That's all I need.
Is he like one of your role models?
Do you
emulate what he did?
So it's strange. He was a Jamaican guy, very big, muscly, 6 foot odd person, very intimidating, but very calm spoken. And I think whether I model myself on him or not, with the way that he taught, I kind of do the same thing. And maybe it's my personality. Maybe we just have the right personality that gelled. But I can definitely feel that when I'm teaching people, that I'm kind of using his style, like his methodology, with the way that you do it. Like, I'm not one of these trainers that will shout and scream at the clients, do this, do that. I'm not a drill sergeant.
Yeah.
I will manipulate, is maybe a negative word, but I will make sure that the client gets it done, but I'll do it gently. I'll do it in the nice right way.
I think the word is, maybe be more empathetic or compassionate.
Correct. This is better, much better than manipulate. I'd rather be empathetic than a manipulator.
But I know what you mean, because while you're saying it, we know how we're trying to simplify it, or maybe say it in a way that the person might comprehend or understand it better. It might not be the most technically correct way to say it.
Yeah.
But we still have to say it.
Of course.
So that they do what is needed to be done. Whether it's go low carb or keto or
whatever it is.
Yeah.
Like the protocols of training and nutrition, honestly, and I'm being really honest here, is actually very simple. And I'm not saying that because I'm educated in it and I understand it. Of course I understand it. But it's very, very simple. But getting someone to hear the simplicity is difficult.
Yeah.
So it's how you word it, how you communicate that to somebody to make them understand, okay, being active 5-6 times a week is what you need to do. Everyone knows that.
Yeah.
But to actually action it, to make them do it, that's where the skill of a trainer and perhaps experience of a trainer will come across.
Absolutely. Like to get somebody fit, they just need to do a lot of simple stuff.
It's simple.
Yeah, it's like when I started educating myself, I mean, this is probably like 15 years back. I'm 36 now. So yeah.
It made me feel old.
Yeah. Anyways, but when I started 16 years ago or 17 years ago, when I started educating myself thoroughly about nutrition, about food, about training, about recovery, the deeper I got into it, I started understanding that it's all very simple and structured.
Yes.
If you try to break it down, it's not as complicated as you think it is. But the results seem to be very far-fetched, right? So people try to think that you can't get it easily, so it has to be some rocket science to it.
And I think there's in today's world with social media and everything and things like that, there's a lot of misinformation, but there's also a lot of confusing and conflicting information.
Yep.
And that makes it seem very, a little scary to get into if someone doesn't understand. So there's all this vast information, but what a lot of people I feel are doing are overcomplicating the simple things because they want to sell something or because they need some clients. So they'll make something very, very complicated because, you can't understand everything. I'm that intelligent, you can't understand everything that I'm talking about. So you need to pay me X amount or you need to buy this product and then you'll get the results. But actually, there's a lot of fluff around the basics of what people need to do. It's very simple. And I'm not underselling what we do because you have to understand all the mechanisms and the protocols and all of that. But you have to also be able to break that down and make it very simple so everybody can understand and everybody can take action on it.
Yeah, but that's the problem, right? The society.
Yeah.
That if I was to sell something simple to you,
you wouldn't
value it. You wouldn't buy it.
So there's value in not understanding something and learning something.
But if I was to complicate this, I mean, this is a bottle of water, right? So you wouldn't want to buy it. But the minute it becomes like a bottle of prime, or it becomes like a bottle of liquid death.
Correct.
Like, what is this? I need to buy it, right? Exactly. That's the society that we live in. So if I was to create a program which says that, okay, I have this secret sauce, which is going to sort all your life issues, and nobody else.
Please give it to me.
Exactly.
I want this.
Exactly. And the nitty-gritties of the entire program is going to be the same, but still.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's my secret program. So, and I've got limited slots. Yeah.
Oh my God! Don't get me started on the way people market themselves.
Exactly. So there are a lot of people out there who do that, but then you choose how you want to live your life and what gives you happiness. I mean, I'm sure there are people. I don't want to take names, but they're doing really well for themselves abroad. But I have invested in their programs and I've seen all the programs entail, and they probably sell the same program with a few more supplements.
Yeah.
Like have this supplement or this supplement which is only available with them. And
So you do a very smart thing, and as trainers, we need to understand what people are actually offering. It's a competitive business.
Yeah.
It absolutely is. I'm a firm believer if you do what you value and you've got integrity with your business, you'll flourish.
Yeah.
But I went through a stage of investing in many people's training programs and not giving my name, giving a fake email address because I didn't want them understanding, maybe they'd recognize my name. So I got programs and not to just doing market research more than anything, just learning what people are actually offering. And honestly, there's a lot of terrible stuff out there. There's a lot of good stuff, don't get me wrong. But the things that people are marketing and selling, it's just a cookie cutter program that you just manufacture once and then you sell it out 1,000 times. And it's the same thing. And that's why I love being one-to-one with people. I understand my business model is a bit, there's a ceiling. There's only one of me and there's only so many hours in a day. And of course, I could go out and I could make more money by selling programs and things like that. And maybe, with integrity, I will do that in the future. But honestly, people are selling just terrible things out there and people are buying it. And it's just crazy. So face to face, people can call you out on your shit. They'll see it and face to face, I can't lie. So I speak with integrity and I give everything that I can. Behind a computer, I could probably get away with a lot more things. I don't want to do that. That's not my style. It's not.
So last night when I was at this party, I met a previous client, like an old client who I was like coaching for a year and a half, and his goals were very different. We put him on a complete calisthenic program.
Yes.
And he flourished with that. And then he had a back injury because of some trip. He went scuba diving or something, and he had a back injury. Okay. After that, he came back. He was like, I'm going to try to do something more in person with somebody. I was like, yeah, for sure. If you need help with programming, I'll do that. Cut to, I met him like 6-7 months after that conversation last night.
Yeah.
And he told me that he's just invested in a new program, went online, bought a new program, showed it to me. It was literally something that a trainer has made from a Muscle and Strength magazine.
Yes.
Yeah. And I showed him the PDF. I was like, you know what? I know what this is. I've
read it.
I've read it like maybe a year back. I know this program, the rest pause, the 4-day work. It's a very simple structure, but it's not for you.
Yeah, I know.
And he's like, I just paid like $150 for it, for an 8-week program. I was like, it's just $150. Like, don't follow it. Otherwise, you just recover from an injury.
Of course.
Yeah. But
so, of course, these things, not to be negative, that people go about that business, and these programs will help a lot of people. They absolutely will, because I'm a firm believer in, honestly, there's no real wrong program. Do a program, even if it's a terrible program, do it consistently for a period of time. You will get results, absolutely 100%. So there's something for everybody in these online things, and I'm happy that people are getting fit and active. I don't care how they do it. I want people to be healthy. So that will never take away from my business, because my business is completely different to that. I'm just happy that they're making impacts on people. So for it.
The way I look at it is that, like, let's say there's 0 to 100. You want to go from 0 to 100.
Yeah.
100 being like your dream body, your dream highest fitness level, where you're internally fit, mentally fit, looking fit, all of that.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you could look like $1 million, but mentally you could be like shit.
Of course.
And you could feel like really weak. You would know you've competed on stage as well, right? So
I didn't, but I got to that.
Yeah, you got to that level, like probably 4, 5, 6% body fat, like really depleted.
To look good on the beach for one day.
Exactly.
But yeah, and a photo shoot maybe here.
Yeah, but you know how that is. So, but then to get from 0 to maybe a 30, 40, even a 50 maybe, you can use these cookie cutter programs.
Of course, it's an increment. It's better than where you were.
Exactly.
You're being left better than when they found you.
Absolutely.
That's a win. It's a win.
Yeah, but the thing is that I think in our industry or in our profession, the main thing is managing expectations.
Yes.
Right. So if I was to make like a cookie cutter program for somebody, and I was like, all right, you know what? You're not going to get sculpted or toned, but you're going to get fitter for sure. You're going to get stronger for sure after this program. I would go aggressively and market that.
Correct.
I wouldn't say that, 6 weeks to muscle, body, or whatever you want to call it.
It's just about being honest.
Yeah.
And as you said, managing people's expectations and also managing what you can offer, what you can give that person.
Yeah.
That's all it is. It's being honest. And that's what it's all about.
So tell me, like, with your clients, like, what are the most funniest stories, like, in terms of expectations, right? I mean, honestly, for the stage, like how long I've been a trainer, there probably isn't a goal, there isn't a personality, there isn't a story that I haven't encountered. I've had it all. So it's but what I find is
in spite of all these variants and differences in people, it comes down to the same thing. And that's people not being motivated, but being consistent with what they do. And if you can get someone to become consistent, then that's a lifestyle change. Motivation comes and goes. Like one week you can be extremely motivated because you know that next week you're going on holiday. After that holiday, you might not be motivated because you've got nothing else to look forward to.
Yeah.
But if you're consistent, how I envisage being consistent, like I train every day, and it's not because I want to look good every single day. It's just because that's what I do. That's who I am. So I understand. I'm very empathetic. I understand that not everybody wants to train every day. That's fine, but you have to.
Sorry, but you have no rest days?
Sunday. This is my rest day.
Okay.
So, but that's only through habit. Honestly, I think I could probably train every single day. But like, if I write my program accordingly, I could train every single day. Of course you can, because the body is designed to move. So training or exercising might be a 40-minute walk. Of course you can do that every single day. It doesn't matter. But it's it's just about managing how you structure that plan. But with my clients, I've come across it all, and motivation and consistency is always the hardest point. People can train. I'm very good with that face-to-face, 1 hour. I'll get the most out of that person. When I'm not in front of that person, that's when the trouble starts. The 23 hours for the rest of the day that person's left to their own devices. Luckily, I'm very accessible, so I can call, I can WhatsApp, I can keep on their case a little bit. But yeah, for a trainer, it's very difficult to manage those over the 23 hours when they could be eating off plan or not doing the cardio that you told them to do or whatever it is. So yeah, managing that is always a task. Face-to-face, easy. The other 23 hours, not so
difficult
easy.
task.
Yeah,
I know. But do you drink?
Yeah, of course.
Do you?
I'm British, of course I drink.
Exactly. Do you end up eating fish and chips? Or
yeah, of course.
You do, right?
Yeah, of course.
So how do you manage to convince your clients?
I know
that you
lead from the front, do it the right way.
Exactly.
I know.
You can do both, right?
Yeah. So I'm obviously I practice what I preach, and as much as I'm all about balance, I don't eat terribly every single day.
Yeah.
I go through stages of my life where I'm not following a plan. But then I understand that when I'm not following that plan, that my muscle condition might change slightly.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. I'm at peace with that. But I'm also understanding that when I do switch it on, then I can get that back very, very quickly. And that's because of years of training. But with my clients, I really believe that health and fitness is a part of life. It's not the life.
Yep.
And you've got to balance it. So, and that's coming from someone who is like into the industry and has been for years. I understand that people have work, people have family, people have social engagements, all these things. And you absolutely have to do all of these things to be rounded and be happy. But you've also got to be healthy so you can enjoy these for a longer period of time. It's a marathon, this life. You can't just sprint at things. So you've got to enjoy it all, and you've got to do everything in moderation, which is a very loose term, and it can be interpreted very differently with different people. But in moderation is perhaps the best way I can explain it. Everything in moderation is okay.
Yeah, I think mainly the bar that people set for themselves, like if this is like really unhealthy and this is very healthy, people try to oscillate between a very wide range
rather than being in the middle, right? You want to be in that middle place.
Exactly.
Of course.
And like I'm sure, like when you step out, or like you said, you can just switch it on like that. For your clients, when they switch it on like that, whenever they tend to, or they have a role or they have anything like that, don't they like go completely extreme?
So everyone's different, and goals are different, and I have to manage those. So I do find that when someone's got a specific goal in mind, whether it's a role, whether it's a function or a holiday or whatever it is, they can work towards that goal. So I try and find out, what is your reason? What's your reason for doing this?
What's your why?
Absolutely. Is your reason because you've got to look good for a camera? Or is your reason because you've got to run around with your kids? What's your reason? And if I can tap into that, I've got you. Then as soon as I know that, then, okay, every opportunity I get, I'm going to circle back to your reason and your why.
Yeah.
And if I can keep pushing that, then they will keep getting motivated and keep consistent, because, you know, we're all creatures of habit. And, you know, if there's a desire to do something in somebody, then form the habits to make that happen. And that's our job. That's what we do. We give people the tools, the habits to make them achieve what they want to achieve and be what they want to be.
So tell me, like, I'm sure, like, this is how I started. Initially, when I started training people or coaching people, it was all about aesthetics.
Mm-hmm.
Has it changed for you? Like, now it's changed significantly for me after, like I've had a son, I've had family, I've seen people age, I've seen the importance of having lean muscle.
Yeah.
Especially with the entire pandemic and how people have recovered, the after effect of the aftermath of it, like how the elders, or probably my mother herself, like how she suddenly aged so much so fast because of not having healthy habits. And now, because of that, I try to impart that kind of knowledge, or try to educate people of her age group, her friend circle, that this is what you need to start doing, just so that you can sustain life or have a better quality of life later on.
The quality of life, that's important. So I'm sure I'm not wrong, I'm 100% sure I'm not wrong in saying this. Everybody goes to the gym and trains for multiple reasons. However, the biggest reason is to look good and feel good, aesthetics. It's absolutely about that. And someone who says that they go to the gym because they want to be healthy, and all, the undercurrent of why they're going is because they want to look good naked.
Yeah.
They want to look good for their partners. They want to look good for themselves. It's very, very visual, and the gym is that.
Yeah.
And for me, for sure. Obviously, when I was an athlete, I was doing the gym, I was training because I had a function to perform. I had to fight. I had to be physically fit. If I wasn't physically fit, I get punched in the face.
Yeah.
I want that. So that was my reason then. And then alongside that, happily, I started to look good. I was in shape. So then that became a little bit more pronounced. Okay, now I want to look good. I want to be able to perform. I want to do this, but I want to also look, really good when I'm on the beach in Ibiza and things like that.
Yeah.
So the undercurrent of why everyone trains, I don't care what they say, is to look good. It absolutely is. As we get older, now in my 40s, I know that I'm not going to look as good as what I was when I was in my 20s. It's just not possible. It's genetics. It's the way the human body evolves. It changes. Everything changes.
The composition.
I'm going to hold on to my dear life to try and keep as good as I can get.
I know what you mean.
And I'm doing all right.
Yeah.
But I got to let go of that. That fantasy of being 20 is not there anymore. Yeah. So now I've got to understand that, okay, I'm 44 now. I've got the next 20, 30, 40 years, fingers crossed, hopefully, of having a quality of life that I can enjoy. I don't care how old I am when I die, honestly speaking. Yeah. As long as I've got a quality of life up to that point. If I die at 100, amazing. I've had a good life. But if my quality of life changes when I'm 90 and I have 10 years of terrible quality of life, that's not going to make me happy. So the more that I can do to be healthy, to be fit, and improve that quality of life for as long as I can, that's what it's about for me. And I find that with my clients, I'm kind of training a lot of people who are around my age. Mm-hmm. And I see that that's happening for them as well. People get a little bit more comfortable. People get married as we get older, of course. So you're not chasing a relationship. You're not trying to look good for that. Yes, you respect your partner, so you're trying to look good for your partner, but you're not chasing relationships. So that aesthetic changes. And a lot of my clients are in the same situation as I am now. And presumably you are as well. It's improving that quality of life and just having longevity and waking up in the morning and not going, oh, my back hurts. Oh, my knee hurts. Oh, I've just run up a flight of stairs and got tired.
Yeah.
Those simple things that we need to do, we need to do them for as long as we possibly can and enjoy it. So that's what it's about for me now. Quality of life, all the way.
Yeah, but aesthetics will still say.
But if I don't have a six-pack, my quality of life sucks. Because I want to be happy. I'm really happy when I've got abs.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like, the minute you start feeling a little softer, you're like,
my quality of life has just dropped.
Again, a month away from it. Because we know it. That's how long it takes just to switch on. At least for me, I know.
Yeah.
Like just to get back onto like having everything in order, it takes me at least 3 to 4 weeks.
Of course.
It doesn't happen overnight.
No,
Never
not
does.
at all.
And most people, like whenever they sign up for a program or they sign up with me, they're like, okay, we start from Monday. So Monday we're going to go completely clean, this, that, and this. I'm like, it's not going to happen.
Because Sunday night, I'm going to go mental. I'm going to be drinking. I'm going to be eating everything, and then I'll switch on Monday. It doesn't happen like that.
Yeah.
Give it a week or two to
transition into it. Yeah.
Otherwise,
you're just going to set yourself up for failure.
Absolutely.
And you'll be demotivated. You're like, okay, this is not for me. And like, so I just like recently I signed a client. He stays in Dubai, very big singer.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So he signed up and he's like, I've heard a lot about you and you want to do this online thing. I'm like, okay, cool. And he's like, okay, now I'm going to train for an hour, but I haven't trained for a year and a half. I was like, okay, cool. So I'm going to give you something very simple. Just do that. He's like, okay, I'll do that. He did that 3 times because it was so simple. And he stopped replying to my messages. I was like, I told you to do it only like once. He did 3 rounds of it. And he's like, my body's too sore.
Of course.
I can't do this. I was like, we need to ease into things, right? I mean,
So this is what we were talking about before. It's starting here and wanting to get there. Just be in the middle.
Exactly.
Like, I talk about myself. I'm trying to educate my clients to do the same thing. You want to be in that middle road. You want to be enjoying yourself. And sometimes you can lean into being a bit more extreme. Sometimes you can lean into being a little bit more relaxed. But this is where you live.
Yeah.
You live in that middle road.
That sweet spot,
Yeah, of course. But if you veer too much in one direction, it's hard to come back to this. And that you don't want to do. Both, like, you can be really extreme. Like at the moment, I'm leaning into being a bit extreme because I've got a holiday coming up and I want to look good for that. And it's good mentally for me to have something to focus on. So I'm leaning here. But I know as soon as I get on holiday, I'm going to be coming right back here and I'll be leaning there again. And that's okay.
Yeah.
That's balance. But as soon as the holiday's over, I'm going to come right back into this middle sweet spot again. But what people do is they'll live here in this lane, or they'll live here and have no life.
That'll be for a very brief amount of time.
Of course, you can't do this forever. You can do this forever until you die, until you become unhealthy, and
but you'll die
until something happens that like really turns over in your head. I've got a lot of friends. I've dealt with a lot of people that have had adversity because of their health, and that adversity is the motivator sometimes to lean into being healthy. Now, unfortunately, that's too late. You don't want to have that adversity there. You do without that. Of course, if it happens, then you can lean into it. But I would much rather live in this middle lane where my health is good, my lifestyle is great, I'm enjoying, I'm happy, and I'm keeping fit. Sometimes people need a why. We're saying this. And if your why is because you don't want to have another heart attack, you've left it too late. It's great to change it then. Why did you have that heart attack in the first place? Was it because you were having too much fatty food? Was it because you didn't take care of your cardiovascular system? Great to change, and you learn by your lessons, and life is all about learning from your lessons. But don't have that experience if you can help it. Like, why would you? Like, there's never the wrong time to start training. But if you haven't started, you need to immediately. Like, that's the right time. I can remember my hairdresser back in the UK. He wasn't an overweight guy. But he was busy. He was a freelance hairdresser, so he's busy. Doesn't take care of himself. And when I came to India, we kept in touch. And he sent me a message one day and said, "I've just started training. It's the best thing I've ever done in my life." And I was like, "So amazing! Like, it took you long enough, but it's amazing." And he said, "I'll always remember what you said to me. And I don't remember this." And this is what I mean about the power of words that trainers have, and the responsibility that we have on the weight of the words that we use. And he said, "You always said it doesn't matter when you start, but just start. Like, if you haven't started already, start now." He said, "I finally figured out that it was my time to start. So I started." He said, "It's the best I've felt." And like, he would have been mid-30s when he started. He's in great shape now. He's healthy. His business is thriving. Everything's great for him. And I'm so happy for him. I'm so happy that I had one word that may have impacted it seems it's impacted his life. But I said it very flippantly at the time. But it carried responsibility, and the weight of that word has had an impact on that person. And I hope that I've done that with other people. But that's just one example.
But isn't it like either sides or either ways is so infectious. It's like a virus, right? So if you're unhealthy, that virus seeps into your financial
Of
health,
course.
your relationships. Like, it impacts everything. And if you're healthy, that also, like you said, and now he's doing well financially, his work is flourishing, obviously the relationship might be better, because you just are so positive. You're just looking at life in a very different way.
How you do anything is how you do everything.
Absolutely.
And I really believe it. And I know that that's a very loose term and you can argue against it. But if you've got structure in your life, in your fitness life, you're going to have structure in your financial life. You're going to have structure in your relationships. It's just the way it is.
Yeah.
So if you're getting good results from your fitness because you know that you're disciplined enough to do it every single day, you'll get good results in your business because you're disciplined to put the work in every single day.
Yeah.
It's just the way it is. How you do anything is how you do everything. Absolutely.
Yeah, makes sense. So when did you move to India?
10 years ago.
Yeah.
So I literally came for 3 months. I had a very successful gym in the UK, kickboxing studio. Loved doing what I was doing. Kept getting asked to come to India for some reason to train various people, but it wasn't really on my radar. It wasn't the right time. Again, it wasn't a reason. The why wasn't big enough for me, right? And then eventually I listened and I was like, I keep getting asked to go. Let me just go and see what it's all about. So I came 3 months. 10 years later, still here. And it was such a crazy thing to do. And I'm a little bit like that. I'm a little bit extreme. Like, my dream when I was younger, I wanted 3 jobs. I wanted to teach PE, like not necessarily a PE teacher in school, but I wanted to be, that's what I'm doing. I wanted to be a bouncer in a nightclub. No reason why, I did it. And I wanted to do kickboxing class.
Okay.
I wanted to teach kickboxing class, which I've done. So I've done all the 3 things. So when I got my kickboxing gym, this was like my big goal. Like, it was what I would think would be my destiny. And my father and my mother and everyone around me made sense. This is what you've been working to. You've done it. So when I told my friends and my family, I'm going to sell the gym and I'm going to move to India, they were like, come on, like, this is insane. What are you doing? And I hear myself saying it now and I think, that was really crazy. Such a strange thing to do. But it was the best decision ever. It was the best thing that I could have done. And obviously, 10 years later, being here now, in hindsight, it was absolutely the right move for me to do. So thank goodness I took that leap and I trusted my instincts. Or, you know, I calculate everything. I try and figure things out, and I pros and cons. With India, I didn't really do that. I just kind of just went with my gut.
Intuitive.
Yeah, and I don't know why, but I just did. And yeah, here I am, and I'm living the dream. I guess I'm really happy with what I'm doing, and everything's going great. So yeah, I'm here.
But what are the challenges that you faced when you moved over here? Like,
so
that was a different world back then.
So I've seen such development. Not just talking about fitness, but such developments in this country since I've been here in 10 years. There's so many changes. But when I first come here, you know, compared to the UK, it's a different world. There's so many differences, good and bad. But I think this is true with anywhere that you move to. A change is always a change. So, you know, the difference is here for me. There was I saw a big opportunity with my business. I saw a lot of opportunity to making a good life here, because, you know, I love teaching people, and I could see that I could be very infectious and educational to a lot of people here.
Yep.
That perhaps I wouldn't have been able to do so much in the UK. In the UK, there are many good trainers. There really are. Here, at that time, I could see that there was perhaps a little weakness, and there was maybe a couple of years behind. It's changed dramatically over 10 years. I've seen such a rise in education and the quality of trainer. Still, obviously, work to do and improvements to be made, as with all of us and anywhere. But yeah, over the 10 years, I've seen a big change. And now, like, when I go back to the UK, I can see problems with the UK that I wouldn't have been able to see if I hadn't come away from it. You know, I miss my family and friends dearly, but there's a lot of things that I don't miss, and there's a lot of things here that I love. There's a lot of things here that I don't like. but this is home now. So it was a good move. And 10 years later, I feel like I'm settling in. Trainers aren't going to get better unless they realize that they're shit.
Yeah.
There's that moment, and people are letting trainers get away with not giving a good service, and I'm not okay with that.
Yeah.
So we can go into that direction.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you
All
should, like if there is an example of, like,
Yeah, I can do it.
I'll tell you right now. Like I know celebrity trainers,
Yeah.
right? And I know, I obviously knew of them. I didn't know them personally, but then their clients have come to me for nutrition. Like like how I work. I'll just tell you how I work. I work mainly on nutrition.
Yeah.
And then I design the exercise programming around it. I don't go and train anybody personally. because,
Yeah, I know.
Like I know my physical limitations.
You don't have time for that.
It's not about the time. It's so I have ankylosing spondylitis. There are days where I wake up in immense pain.
Yeah.
And if I can't show up for a training session with my client,
It doesn't sit well with you, does it? You don't want that.
I don't want that.
You don't want that responsibility.
Yeah, exactly.
Of course.
I cannot cancel on my client, and I know that I can sit at home and do it online, but then I won't be able to serve the client.
It's
Like
not the same.
I won't be able to create a package in that order, right?
Yeah,
That,
I get
hey, you know what? I can't show up today. Let's do an online class. I can't do that. So I decided that my structure would always be that, okay, I'll help you out with food, supplementation if required. Again, if required. People just think that supplementation is always required. But supplementation if required, study your blood work, create an exercise program around your goals, a recovery program. And then if you want to work with whichever trainer, please go ahead. I'll speak to your trainer. I'll see, we'll clash ideas, we'll debate, we'll argue, we'll do all the background work.
Yeah.
So that your efforts are just focused towards getting results.
Absolutely.
That's how I work.
But that's great. That's a really great way to do it. That's what people need.
Yeah, but then when I started speaking to certain trainers, that's what I'm getting to.
Yeah, okay.
Like in terms of getting them to understand, you know what, this person does not require so much protein, right?
Yeah.
No, we need to push in so much protein. This person probably doesn't need to do so many days of exercise because they're not recovering. They're spending like 15 hours on set, and most of which is like just practicing lines and memorizing lines or in the van, and you're making them train for 2 hours
For the sake of training.
Yeah, just because you are being paid, so you want to make sure that they are
You
tired.
Yeah, of course. So when you talk about trainers, training people, like I see it all the time in gyms where trainers are just literally giving workouts to make them sweat and to make them feel tired. Like a successful session is if your client can't stand up at the end. That's not necessarily successful. That might not be that client's goal. They might not need to push to that level. Yeah. There's a lot of things that I see in the gyms that are conflicting to the way that I work. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but I have eyes and I see a lot of things that I don't like to see. I think, like we said about it before, trainers need to understand that they have a responsibility. And if you don't take that responsibility seriously, your clients will, in the best case, not achieve their goals. In the worst case, become really injured and demotivated. Yeah. So when I see trainers on their phone, looking around, talking to other people who aren't their clients while their clients are doing a squat and struggling and they can't catch, you really need to be attentive in your sessions. Like when I'm with my clients, it's me and them. There's no one else in the gym.
Yeah.
And I mean that respectfully. So, if I'm in a gym and I'm training my client, I'm polite, I'll speak to somebody. And it's the same with my training. When I'm training, we see each other in the gym all the time.
Yeah.
And we'll have a hi, a bye, a brief conversation. And I know that you're going about your training and you know that I'm going about my training. That's what we're there to do. So when a client is there with a trainer, the trainer's job is to be responsible for that client. Nothing else should be going on in their head. You should not be checking your phone. You should not be quickly going to get your protein shake because you need to get your protein in. It's just nonsense.
It's not a safe space to be in. The gym is not a safe space to be in.
Yeah. There's an accident waiting to happen every second in every moment.
Exactly. There are things moving which you are not in control of. Things could be falling and it's all heavy shit.
Yes.
It's all heavy shit.
Yes.
So, I mean, it's like, I had this conversation with my younger brother. He stays in UK. He's working for a startup over there. And he just started training. This was a year and a half back. And he just started training. And he was like, I'm going to the gym. I'm really excited. I was like, yeah, but, it's as good as you're getting to, you're at the border. You're going fighting with somebody. So you need to be attentive.
Yeah.
Don't be like, I'm going to the gym, I'm excited. Fine, if you're going to doing cardio on the treadmill, do it, whatever. But when you're hitting the weight room, just please be attentive. Because
Of course.
like I've just been like walking in the gym and there's a barbell that's gone on my foot.
Of course.
Dumbbells fall down. Why? Like
Everyone has these stories of things that have happened. Because
Exactly.
it
It's
just
so
happens
common.
all the time.
yeah, but like and then when I see people like socializing and sitting over there in the corner and trainers doing all that jazz.
So I think the big part, let's talk about trainers a little bit.
Yeah.
Not just in India, but worldwide, everywhere. It's the same story. Like a trainer will have to become educated at some point. In India, there's qualifications that you can do. The level of that qualification can be a little questionable sometimes, but there's a qualification. So there's an understanding of the body mechanics, of how the body can move, the nutrition, all the things that we learn, that I learned at university and all the courses I've done. There's that root level. There's some education.
That's the foundation.
The foundation.
That's
This
the
is it.
basic thing.
So what I see here, I'll speak about being in India because I've been here for 10 years. I've got eyes. I can see what's going on. I see that a gym trainer, like a floor trainer, will come into the gym. Now, I presume that they've got a qualification. I don't know because they don't walk around with a certificate. I don't know. But I trust the gym owner, the recruitment staff, that they've done their due diligence and they've got someone in to do that. Whether they have or not, I don't know. But this is what I see, and it's happened a lot. That floor trainer will walk around. They will spot if you ask them. They don't offer because often these people are a little young. They're inexperienced. I can excuse that. That's fine. But you need to have a personality. If you're going to be in the fitness world and educate people, you've got to have a bit of spunk. You've got to have a bit of flavor to yourself, right? You can't just be a deadpan, boring person because you need to communicate with people. So, these people will walk around. They'll occasionally put a weight back, things like that. They're finding their feet. I get it. Within months, and I mean months, all of a sudden their t-shirt has gone from fitness trainer or floor trainer or whatever it is to coach to personal trainer. I don't get it. That person has done nothing for, let's say, three months, best case scenario. I'm sure it's shorter sometimes. That person has done nothing. They've had no more education. They haven't been given clients to help them or worked with another personal trainer who's got experience to guide them how to do programs. And all of a sudden, now I'm a personal trainer in a gym. So they're getting paid by the gym, I presume. Again, I don't know the fundamentals of it. Percentage of whatever session they do, I'm sure they get paid. But they're a personal trainer. All of a sudden, they've been elevated to this personal trainer status.
And that's where the ego also kicks in.
They're the same as me. I'm a personal trainer. And I don't mean I'm better, but I've got 30 years more experience on this than you. I've worked with thousands of clients. You haven't worked with one yet, and all of a sudden you're a personal trainer. Then this person will selectively work with a few trainers, a few clients. Then this person thinks, I don't like the gym taking 50%, 80%, whatever it is, of my money. I'm going to be a freelance trainer. Still not improved any education. They've had some client experience, maybe after a year, after two, or whatever it is, 1, 2 years, whatever it is. Then all of a sudden, they've come out of the gym and they're freelancing and they go into different gyms. They're reaching out to different clients. They go into clients' homes. This is just not safe. Best case scenario, the client doesn't achieve the goals. Worst case scenario, the client gets injured or dies.
Yeah.
Because it's that serious. And these people, that are the way the system seems to be working, it just doesn't work. I constantly did courses for years. And I'm still listening to podcasts.
Right. Exactly.
We're always a student of this. You'll never learn everything. And honestly speaking, I'm dumb. Like, I retain information not very well at all. I have to keep doing things to retain information. So I have to keep doing that. But when you become a freelance trainer, if you haven't got the motivation or the will or the desire to keep learning, you can just sit back, go around, do your clients, and never develop yourself. that means your service that you're providing is just not good enough. And then the client will only pay you for that service that you're giving. So you're wondering why you're getting like a minimal amount of money or whatever it is. Even if you're getting paid really well, you could and you should be getting paid better if your service was better. In other words, you're more educated, you're developing yourself in line with your rates that you're giving people, right? So,
but sorry, but
no, go.
I also feel like it doesn't always have to be directly proportional, right? Just because I'm doing a course, I've invested in a course which is probably costing me $1,000,
yeah,
whatever, doesn't mean that I need to increase my rates. Right?
Not automatically.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
But people over here always feel that, okay, I need to increase my rates, so I'm going to do a course.
Yes.
Once I finish my course, I'm going to increase my rates.
Yes.
And then they're just constantly caught in that cycle. And they're like, okay, now I've reached the ceiling of how much I can charge, so I do need to educate myself.
Yeah. And that's it. That's exactly it. And then that's it. And then you just coast for the rest of your career.
Yeah.
And it's just not right, because fitness is evolving all the time. And if you coast, this is just going to evolve ahead of you, and you're not going to be able to catch up. But you'll get away with having that nucleus of clients that you've always worked with, and that's fine. But you're never ever going to get any better. And the desire of not being better, I just don't understand.
Yeah,
I don't get it. You've got to want to have more.
Isn't that the profession that we are in? We're trying to make people better. So why can't we make ourselves better?
This is the point. So when it comes to trainers, also, I find that you mentioned it before, but we're talking about like ego. We've all got an ego, but we also have to understand that we're not the most important person when we're training. Our client is. I hear a lot of trainers counting out loud in the gyms, 1, 2, 3, and it's like a show, and they just want people to see them, or they'll say some motivational words of wisdom, like pearls of wisdom, and they're saying it for everybody rather than the client that they're actually speaking to, and it just doesn't fit with that context of what's going on. And you see it on Instagram, people are just saying things, and I know they don't believe the things that they're saying. And if you can't operate from a place of like integrity and truth, then you're just a fraud, in my opinion. So I do see trainers out there that the session is about them. Look at what I'm doing. And the session should always be about the client. The client is the most important person in that room. So it should never be about the trainer. And this is only through experience that I'm not saying I'm the world's best trainer, because I'm really not. But I'm very, very empathetic, and I understand my clients, and I understand what I am really good at. Might not necessarily be the training side, but what I am good at is learning their reasons and their whys and tapping into that. And I think as a trainer, there's no education you can do for that. That's just experience. So when these trainers are doing like a few months on the gym floor and then becoming a freelance trainer, they're just totally underselling themselves, because they're not having the experience with that one-to-one client where they can learn so much about themselves and then teach other clients. I always say this, like I talk to trainers, and trainers always, and people in general, who's the worst client? Who's the problem client? I don't see them as problems. I see them as lessons. Like I've had some really, really horrendous clients. Not because they're demotivated necessarily, but because they've got so many injuries that you can only do a certain exercise, or they're so bad with timekeeping that they're running late all the time, and the workouts tend to be terrible. I've had all of these clients. These clients aren't a problem for me. They're things that I need to learn from. So I thank all these problem clients for making me a better trainer. There's certain clients out there, and I'm working with them now, that are so easy. And by easy, I mean, I'll tell you to do a bench press, you go and do it, your technique is perfect because you've trained for years, or because I've educated you for the period of time that I'm with you and you can do it. And those sessions are easy. I don't mean I don't pay attention, because I'm still paying heavy attention, but they're easy, and some clients can be easy like that. And I see that, again, some clients can get results really, really fast. And the credit goes to the trainer, or the trainer tries to claim that credit. And it's not them, it's the client that does the work. And if there's one client that can get really in shape really well, the trainer's guiding them, but they can't take credit for it because that's the client doing the work.
I think it's always one person.
Of course.
Like the trainer is always just
it's a team.
Yeah.
But I would never take credit for someone. Like, I'll take a name, okay? A really easy name is Farhan Akhtar.
Mm-hmm.
So I've trained it with him for a number of years, and he's got another trainer, Samir Jora, who a great trainer as well. And I'll speak to Sam. I saw Sam on the weekend, and I'll speak to him about this. And like, our job is pretty easy with Farhan because he's in great shape all the time, and he can lean into getting a little bit this way and lean into getting a little this way, but he's always in that middle lane. And he's very focused. He's very attention. Everything that he does, business, training, is consistent.
Yeah.
So myself and Samir, I can't call us good trainers because of the results that we've showed with Farhan, because we're not. He's an easy person to train, you know.
Yeah.
All right, I taught him how to box. He couldn't box. He came from scratch. But I can't take credit for his physique. Sam trains his physique, and he does put the work in with him, but he would do it anyway. So he's a good example of someone who needs a trainer, but a very easy client. And then there's clients that are really, really hard. And that's the sign of a good trainer. If you can get a really difficult client to reach their goal, whether it's to be in shape, whether it's to whatever their goal is, but if you can get a really difficult client to get their goal, that's a good trainer. And that you can take a bit of credit for.
Absolutely. And that's what we do, right? We have to find the right strategies rather to deal with that person. And that's what that person teaches us as fitness professionals. So I'll just give you an example. I have had this client since almost 2.5 years. And she's been facing multiple issues, health challenges, because of which she ends up dropping like 8-10 kgs. And then because of some issue, she again gains it. She's been yo-yoing since 2.5 years. And it's not her fault, it's actually my fault because I'm using the wrong strategies. To a point where I was like, you know what, let's just leave everything aside, no intermittent fasting, no time restricted feeding, no workouts, no this, that or the other. Let's just track your calories. You're going to use MyFitnessPal, you're going to send me a log every day, you're going to take the premium subscription, I'll pay for it. We're going to work together daily, just log your food. Let's just do the most basic thing.
Yes.
No supplementation, no 10,000 steps, just your food. She's lost the weight now.
Like, do you see what you did there?
Yeah.
And this is why I agreed to come and talk with you, because I don't do this. This is something I don't do. But with you, I respect you so much because what you did there, you took responsibility for a failing where most trainers, honestly, they would say the client's the problem. They're not following my plan. They're not eating what I'm telling them to eat. No, you're not communicating the information correctly. You took responsibility. You actioned a change in what you were doing, and you got results. That's integrity. That's all I ask from any trainer. Take responsibility for what you're doing. There's so many trainers out there that will put it on the client. Oh, you're not achieving your results because you're not doing what I'm telling you to.
Or you're lying to me.
Or you're lying to me.
Yeah.
And yes, of course, there's clients that do this. But if your client is lying to you, if my client lies to me, that's my weakness. Yeah. Why do they feel they need to lie to me? Tell me the truth. And if you can't tell me the truth, I'm the problem.
Yeah.
Because you need to be able to speak honestly with me. So taking responsibility as a trainer, that example is just, it's like the epitome of what I love and cherish in a good trainer.
And that's what we need to do. I mean, I can't have the same approach for every client.
Not at all.
I know for a fact, like there is a client who takes probably 20% of my day.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does. But he's also putting in the work, he's also putting in the effort, and he needs that much hand-holding.
Yeah.
And I'm charging him the same. It's not like I'm going to charge him differently. And there's one client who's just sending me a food log. Both have different goals and both are getting closer to the goals. It doesn't mean that I'll have the same strategy for both.
Absolutely not.
One client is not even training, not doing anything, but just sending me her MyFitnessPal screenshots.
Yeah.
Right? And the other one is like tracking his steps, water, Whoop band, stress, strain, everything, like sending me metrics from everything.
There's different levels, isn't there?
Yeah.
And we have to be able to operate on all these different levels of what the client needs.
Yeah.
But fundamentally, a good trainer will give the client not what they want, but what they need.
Yeah.
And that's it. And that client might need your attention 1% of the day, or that client might need 99% of your attention. It is what it is. This is what we signed up for.
Yeah. And the way I look at it is, I mean, I would consider a personal trainer's responsibility as good as a doctor, right?
Of course.
A doctor when you're meeting a client, you're not going to try to rush with the client and say that, okay, I'm done. Here's the prescription.
Yeah.
You have to understand in depth, and you have to try to provide as much value as you can. And you're not going to change your way of working with this client because of this client is not able to pay you that much. I don't think that's right.
No.
And coming to the point, like how you said that flow trainers are graduated or they're promoted so easily.
Yes.
I'll tell you how I started, right? I was working in a construction company, maybe in 2012, 13, and I needed some extra funds on the side. So I was like, you know what, let's just see if I can become a trainer. So I went to Talwarkar's gym, Jaipur, and I applied for becoming a trainer. No certification, nothing. And they asked me a few questions because I was working out myself. I knew those answers. It was easy for me to like answer that.
Of course.
And then they asked me, what are the things that you can achieve? And I was pretty confident that I can get somebody to change their body composition. So I gave them some technical answers and they hired me. They paying me some 15,000 rupees for a 4-hour shift. And within a month, they gave me 2-3 clients for personal training.
Yeah.
I'm not proud of it because I had zero certification. Now that I have like educated myself, but it was just so easy for me to go to a gym.
So you're telling me exactly what I feared.
Yeah.
That is possible. And unfortunately or fortunately, you've got much more integrity than the majority of the people that perhaps we're discussing. And you then went on to educate yourself and you're bettering yourself. But because you're bettering yourself, not only are you becoming a better trainer, you're getting better clients, better business.
Yeah.
Everything is good. People don't do that. Not everyone does that. So I'm happy that you've been honest with me, and it's sad that that's the case. I was fearing that might be the case the way people are employed, but you're a success story. Not everyone can be honest like that.
No, I mean, I you know what I realized, because like 2 months into training somebody, there was this client who was anorexic.
Yeah.
And she was just doing hours and hours of cardio.
Yeah.
And I was telling her, okay, we need to like change the strategy, and she was just not willing to do it. And that's when I feared that, you know what, this person might face more health issues and I might face the responsibility for it. And I was like, you know what, I can't do this. This is like, this person could probably die. Like,
no, of course.
Yeah. And what she's doing, and she's trusting me to provide her with nutritional information, with training information. And she's not even listening to what I'm saying. Probably I'm not communicating it the right way. There's so many open-ended questions which I didn't have answer to. So
but this kind of, I'm not, maybe you are, but I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not, I haven't got a qualification in that. I can understand little parts, but I can't advise if there's a mental instability or the hormonal instability that's causing something. I can't do anything with that. But I can understand it, and I can take a step back, and I can try and help or push them into the direction that they need to go, whether it is, in this instance, going to see some medical professional or whatever. Very similar situation when I was in the UK. Same thing, girl came to me, very, very slim. Clearly had probably an eating disorder of some description, and asked me to train her. I did the consultation, sat with her, very quickly understood that she had a bad relationship with food, and an unhealthy picture and image of herself. So my advice at that time was, I can't train you. You need to go either speak to somebody who can help you with what's going on in your mind, or you just need to put on some weight, then I will train you. And yes, I put myself out of business. I could have easily taken, an hourly fee off her, and I could have just gone about and chucked her on the treadmill, given her what she wanted. I could have took that money.
Yeah.
It's not what she needed. What she needed was to not use me. She needed someone else. Yeah. And again, that's hopefully a sign of the person that I am. I say no to a lot of clients. I have said no to a lot of clients for various reasons. More often than not at the moment, it's because I'm too busy. But I hate saying no But I always try and not just say, no, I can't train you. I give them a reason, or I try and give them a solution. So in her instance, I pushed her towards somebody else who could perhaps help her, like a medical professional. In the issue where I'm busy and I haven't got the time, I'll push them to a trainer who I think might be able to help them. Saying no as a personal trainer is a big thing, because it's saying no to business. But you have to. You just have to sometimes for their well-being and for our own as trainers. You've just got to be honest. Like when I speak with somebody, very quickly I can understand whether they're going to be the right fit for me. Like if someone wants to train with me, it's not that I interview them. They want to interview me, but I'm kind of interviewing them as well.
Yeah.
Because you've got to have that open conversation as to, are we a good fit? Not, can you pay the money that I want to be paid? If you can, great. But are we going to be a good fit? You need to understand, am I the right trainer for you? And I need to understand, am I the right trainer for you also?
Yeah.
Are you the right client for me?
Yeah.
So it's about being honest. And unfortunately in business, and if people don't operate within their truth, they'll say yes to clients that they should never, ever say yes to.
Yeah.
For whatever reason. So,
and it'll just simply drain you out, right? I mean,
totally.
there's just so many calories that you have in a day to spend. So you might as well spend them wisely.
Yeah, for sure.
Tell me one thing, like when you train your clients, so when you obviously interact with so many people, what are things that they actually focus on versus what they should be focusing on, like in terms of priority?
Great question. This is awesome. So I've literally I've been thinking a lot about this exact question over the last couple of weeks because of my interactions from Instagram. So I'm not very good on Instagram, honestly speaking, but I'm going to get better. This is something that I want to do, but I try and educate a little bit. But like I said, I'm better face-to-face. Instagram isn't face-to-face, so that's why I struggle. But I find that people just have their priorities totally wrong. So when I put some information on Instagram, I will get question after question after question after question on supplements.
Supplements.
First thing. And it literally blows my mind. And I've had like the one-on-one consultation, sat with somebody, hi, how are you, blah, blah, blah. So what steroids can I take? Supplements on steroids, I'm not saying that, that's just an example. I'm not educated enough to tell you what steroids to take. That is probably the last thing that you should be considering the way you look or where you're at in your fitness journey, regardless. Nothing against it, people are doing that thing, but there's a hierarchy of what you need to focus on. People focus on supplements first and foremost because they think a pill is going to be the magical solution. And like very recently, Ozempic has become
I was just going to say that, like the minute you said pill, I was like, the amount of times people keep asking me that, should we take Ozempic? I was like,
I know, it's painful. And I hate it. And yes, it's absolutely right for some people. Not using that one example, I don't want to lean into one example. That's just one thing.
Yeah.
But supplements are literally a supplement that you may or may not need to take. So when everyone says, what supplements should I take? If I'm face to face with them, I will say, what's your blood work? What are you deficient in?
Yeah.
They never know because they think, oh, I'll take a fat burner pill. That'll make me lose weight. Doesn't. I'll take a vitamin C because my immunity is down. Is it? They don't know. Okay. So but that's the focus point. It's supplement right at the top. Then people get very interested in nutrition because nutrition is it's a buzz thing. Like we're very emotional when we eat. It's a part of everything that we do, especially in India. Everything is around food, right?
Yep.
So people love food. I love food. Everything.
Family, everything.
It's food orientated, and it's a wonderful thing. And food is there to be enjoyed. So people then start talking about food, and everyone's questions are very peculiar to me. But I understand that it comes from a lack of
knowledge,
not understanding,
and also a lot of conflicting information, I guess. Right?
And this is the thing with nutrition. Everyone is saying different things. So
eggs are bad, protein is bad.
So you look at any study or any research thing, and you can have the exact answer, and you can have the exact opposing answer, and you can prove both.
Yeah.
And you can prove both.
Yep.
So nutrition, the reason people ask a lot about it is because we become emotional. It's a big part of our day and what we do, and because there's so much conflict in information. Then, right now, I get a lot of questions on recovery. And this will be a little controversial, but people are recovering harder than they're training.
The ice baths
and it's just because it's trendy. And I see people on social media, this is me jumping in the ice bath. I do this every single day because it makes me feel good. Yeah, okay, absolutely, it makes you feel good, great. Did you train? Did your body need that to actually, it makes me feel good? No, it doesn't. It's not absolute nonsense. There's benefits to these things, absolutely. I'm an athlete. I've trained my whole career getting punched, kicked, fighting 4, 5, 6 times a day, getting back in the, being beat up. Did I ever have an ice bath? No. Did I ever get a massage gun and do my glutes and my quads? No. What I did was I just rested and slept and ate the appropriate food. I didn't do all these things that are happening. And yeah, I get it. Fitness is evolving, health is evolving, and all these things are very, very new. And there's information, there's research, and it's all coming about. But because it becomes trendy, people focus on the wrong things. Supplements, nutrition, recovery. That's the order. Training. How can training be the last thing that people want to know about? And this is my experience of what people ask me. When eventually we get around to training, they're not really interested in it. It's something that you just tell me what to do and I'll do it. Training should be the most important thing, because your body is made to move and to function. And if you can't move and function, then what have you got? You can't do anything. So training is literally the most important thing. Strength train, do your cardio, do your sports, go out, have a walk, whatever it is that floats your boat, do it. But do something. Take action. Don't take a tablet. I know people that take steroids and don't train. How insane is that? I don't get it. And I've spoken to these people and I just don't understand the logic.
Is it like a TRT or just like?
No, I mean steroids. I mean Trenbolone. I mean, all the heavy hitting drugs that, even like top level athletes, bodybuilders are taking. These people are taking it because they'll take it and they'll get big, but they won't obviously develop muscle unless they train. And I've had these conversations with various people, but you're not training. I know people that go in an ice bath every single day and train like a pussy in the gym. And it's like, my God, what are you doing? You've got to do one. You've got to train. You've just got to train. And you don't get healthier by doing these things. You get healthy by moving the body, getting your heartbeat pumping, all that sort of stuff. So supplements, nutrition, recovery, then training. Try flipping that. Training on top, nutrition, absolutely. Recovery should be there. It's important if you're training hard. Don't overemphasize it. Supplements, right at the end.
I don't think supplements even matter. What are your top 3 supplements?
So this is really difficult because everyone is different. So I take a bunch of tablets and things like that, like vitamin B12, vitamin C, various things that I find that work for me. So what would work? So when people say top 3 supplements, it's really difficult depending on their goal and depending on what they're deficient in. But people will talk about creatine, people will talk about BCAAs, people will talk about protein, whey protein powder or something like that. And honestly, I'd take the BCAAs away. Protein, whey powder. I find that most people are a little bit insufficient with protein, especially here because of the cuisine, the diet. Many more vegetarians and vegans here, so there's that need for protein for sure. And creatine is just the most proven, tried and tested supplement out there for strength. Don't take creatine and just go on a treadmill and run. Take creatine and lift some weight. That's what it helps with. It's the energy for the short burst, the powerful movements. You don't need it for the treadmill. So don't take creatine and then go and think you're going to burn 1,000 more calories on the treadmill. You're not. It doesn't work like that. So creatine, absolutely, if you're doing strength training, and protein. I mean, everything else, it's individual. dependent on what they're deficient in. I find that here, vitamin D, a lot of people are down on because they don't go out in the sun, you don't get direct sunlight so much. So that's another, but there's many. But honestly, protein powder
creatine.
and creatine.
Yeah, I would just put omega over there because
I take that, of course. So there's going to be an argument, and everyone will be going, "Oh, well, I promise you'll get comments on this podcast. What about this? What about glutamine? What about this?" Again, you're missing the point. It's right at the end.
Yeah.
That's why I don't really want to talk too much about supplements because it's not important to me. Training, get training, be active.
Yeah. Perfect. So, while we are over here and while we're talking about trainers and how they approach it, are there any incidents where you've seen a trainer giving wrong information to a client on the gym floor?
All the time, like embarrassingly, all the time.
I'm talking big names over here. Like so.
Sorry, I won't name names.
No,
but I see it. Like I found that when I walk into a gym, I have to be blinkered because if I start looking left or right, I'll start seeing things that I don't want to see. I'll see someone doing a bad technique that I want to go help with. I'll see a trainer on his phone when he's supposed to be. So I try not to get weighed down into this. It's impossible not to notice it. And examples, of course. You have ears, so you hear certain things that you contrary to what I believe, and contrary to what research shows. But of course it happens. It's just difficult. I find that podcasts, things like this, can expose a lot of people.
Yeah,
absolutely. Because when you start getting into the nitty gritty of details, all of a sudden, trainers will clam up, and because they know it's going to be seen by vast amount of people. So, and there's a few examples, but I've seen trainers say something on a podcast or they put on their Instagram.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, you're going to get absolutely railroaded by this because that's wrong information. People they're just going to comment and it's going to get hurt. When you're one-on-one with a client, trainers you can get away with saying some things wrong.
Yeah.
And people do. And you won't get called out on it because you're the educator in that situation. You should know more than your client on this. That's what they're paying you to do. So I'm very aware that trainers will be giving wrong information when they're one-on-one. But when they start putting it on social media, I've watched a video.
Yeah.
I've watched a video this morning of a trainer, not taking names, and his client, and he's got this client doing the most ridiculous exercise. And I'm very I try and figure what's going on in every exercise. I look at muscles and I'm very analytical.
Yeah.
And honestly, I watched this video today and I cannot see any benefit in the exercise that's going on, and the trainers put it up on their Instagram.
Is it someone standing on a Bosu or something like that?
It's much worse. I don't want to say because the people probably watching this might have seen the video.
Edited it for you, but I don't know who it is. Or don't say who it is, but at least what the workout or exercise.
All right, so you can put this in. Yeah. I don't care. If you're a bad trainer, you need to know you're a bad trainer,
exactly.
Right? So this person's doing jumping lunges terribly. Just
not even plyo.
I can't even explain how they're doing it. Just awfully. And they've got bands. You're going to laugh because it just makes no sense. They've got like the cable crossover, the stature. They've got two bands, and they're holding that. So they're kind of pulling that and doing these crazy plyometric is a nice way to put it. Jumping lunges while pulling down on the bands.
So are they engaging the lats? Or?
Oh, so listen, I did exactly the same thing. I'm trying to look at what's going on. What I figured out, they're actually holding these bands so they don't fall over.
Down. Okay.
Because their technique is that bad that if they didn't have this stability, they would just fall over. So there's so many things wrong. And I know that's only one example. I see it all the time. I see so many things. But unfortunately, when you start putting these things out in your social media, you're really exposing yourself.
Yeah. But you're also misleading people, right? Because
that's the worst. You get away with doing that in closed doors in their home, and they think they're doing a great thing. But the minute you put that out for people to see, you're going to get called on that.
Yeah, even in terms of like nutritional information that I see a lot of people come here and say about things, right? This is how you should start your day. This is what you need to consume. This is what you need to prioritize.
Yeah.
People will try to overcomplicate things just so that they
can sell something.
Yeah.
It's absolutely
It's the same thing.
So when you like using the bands is a good example, and there's I've seen a lot of funny content on it, but there's people that just put bands for putting bands' sake. I understand there's a mechanic to it, and if you position the bands correctly, but the trouble is people are seeing these crazy setups doing glute bridges with a band hanging off the ear to pull the ear and an arm being twisted, like crazy exercises on Instagram because they look elaborate and exciting. Transferring that into the gym, doing it completely wrong because it's like just not feasible to set that up, and obviously not getting, again, best case scenario, they don't get the results. Worst case, they get injured. Yeah. It's just crazy. But people are just like selling stuff. Like this is a new exercise. I'm very basic when it comes to my workouts. For myself and for my clients, again, I do what they need.
How boring are your workouts?
Boring? Yeah, absolutely.
They're boring,
of course
right?
they are.
Yeah.
Like, how exciting is it to squat? But what's the best exercise? Squat.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to build some strong legs and some core stability, squat. It's as simple as that. Oh, but you can do a Bulgarian split squat. You can do all these sexy different things, but a basic squat is the
maximum ROI, right?
So, and this is the problem with my clients. I've hopefully educated them too, like program hopping and things like that, because I understand mentally you need to be stimulated. So if you're doing the same exercises, and I feel that trainers just change programs because of that sometimes. Oh, I've 1 month's passed, so I need to give them a new plan, otherwise, because they're paying me, so I just need to change it up a little bit. And they get forced into that. Some of my clients, they do the same program for 7-8 weeks because they're still progressing. If my client is doing an exercise and their weight is still, like the weight of the exercise is still going up, why would I change that?
Yeah.
I don't need to change that. When it plateaus, then I'll change it. Just because they're bored of doing a squat, I don't give a shit. That might be what you want, but I'm giving you what you need. Like, keep squatting.
Yeah.
Your weight has gone from 50 kilos next week, 55, 60, 65, 70. If it keeps incrementally going up, I'm going to keep giving it.
Yeah, and maybe you don't even need to change the program. Maybe a deload week might just get the
You just need a change.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, like, again, an example of this one client I was speaking to, he's been on the same program. Like, he's been on a high volume program for a year and a half.
Yeah.
And he's been doing it. I've just been tweaking it a little bit after 8 weeks. Every 8 weeks, every 2 months, I've changed the program a little bit. But the key 7 exercises are still there, right? And then the last 2 months, I've put him on a much lesser volume, lighter workout program, and he's thriving. He's enjoying it. He's like, I've just been like, for the last 1 year and a half, I've been spending maybe almost 90 minutes in the gym.
Yeah.
But now suddenly my workouts have become 45 minutes. I was like, you've worked that hard. You've invested that much time.
Because of that.
Yeah.
You've done that backwards.
Exactly. So now you can enjoy your training session.
Yeah.
Cut it in 45 minutes. And you can enjoy a lot of other things. You're like, now I start playing pickleball and doing all those things. I was like, you build that. It's like,
absolutely,
like how we educate ourselves when we go to school.
It's a foundation.
First,
again,
second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh grade, right?
Yes.
So you've done that because of that sweat. Now you can enjoy these things, right? Which most people don't think. Like they always want to change in the program. They're like, what? That person is doing this exercise. I want to do that too.
Yeah.
It'll be great to do that. Yeah, for sure. But it took me 5 years to do my first successful pull-up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So
these are the things, right? So, and how amazing is it when you get something right? Like it's not just about progressing with the weight or looking better. It's about learning something. So if you can learn and educate yourself to do a new move, it's incredible. Like, it's really incredible. Like, that sense of satisfaction is incredible. That's why sport is so good.
Yeah.
And I'm like such an advocate of, if people want to be active, go and do a sport. Learn to play tennis. Learn to kick a football around. Learn to play basketball. Learn MMA. Something different, because there's a real progress in that. Yeah. And to stimulate the mind where you're actually learning something, it's powerful. It's really powerful.
Yeah, I'm sure. So yeah, this was great.
Cool, man.
Is there anything else you want to talk about?
There's so much. I think just like perhaps a final bit of advice to new people joining the gym and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about the gym culture. I think This will be the last thing perhaps we should talk about is gym culture. So gyms for a newbie can be very, very intimidating. Absolutely intimidating.
Especially with the kind. So here's the thing, right? This is exactly what I was thinking last week because there's this new gym, MMA Matrix. Like,
yeah, of course.
Opened it. And I was talking to a client, and she was like, "I'm planning to switch over there, but when I go over there, I see all these TV celebrities, and I see people who are like really, really in shape, and I feel very insecure." And she was like, "I might as well just work out at home." So people are so apprehensive of investing into a gym membership because either they are insecure about how they look, or because most people I feel nowadays, because I can probably look at the body and make out that, okay, is this person on anabolics?
Of course.
It's easier for us to understand, right? And I see a lot of people are just on anabolics for no rhyme or reason, without any, whatever, to each their own. But yeah, so it can get very difficult for somebody to start or kickstart with the fitness journey, right?
You know, I'll tell a story, and I speak about this story quite often because it's such a bad example of how gyms have worked and can work. I was in my early 20s. I was training in a gym, very small gym in my local town. It was a very, if you're from the UK, you'd understand it. People used to go after work, so there'd be guys in their work boots and jeans. It's like in the 90s, so you know what you wore at the gym, it didn't really matter. You just literally go in your ripped jeans and your torn vest and or your shirt or whatever it was. So it wasn't a polished gym, is probably the best way to put it. And this lady came in, obviously overweight, and for her to take that step to come to this particular gym as well, which is really daunting, was powerful. Like, that's a real big step. And she came, obviously overweight. She wanted to lose weight. It was very apparent why she wanted to join. She spoke to the guy who run the gym at the time, and I'll never forget what he said. And it made me angry because she said, I want to lose weight. And as straight faced as I'm saying to you now, he said, you could always chop a leg off.
Oh.
And at the time, I was like, okay, you've made a really bad joke, but you've just destroyed that woman. Of course she didn't join. She turned around and walked right out of there. And I bet she didn't join another gym for a longer time. Yeah. Just that one sentence that guy said has just totally destroyed her life. And it was a joke. And I got that it was a joke. But there's a time and there's a way of saying something, and that was not the time all the way or anything, all right? So this, happily, I feel, has got better. I hope it's got better. So people will be intimidated to go into a gym because there's people who are fit. But I think more than anything, it's because they don't know what they're doing. So I want to just reassure people that when you go to a gym, there is help available. There are people there. We've talked about trainers. Yeah. There are floor staff there who will be able to help you. They're there to help. In India, this is. So some of the gyms in the UK still don't run the same, but here for sure. So take that step. Just be brave. No matter what your goal is, just understand that you've got a goal and just start. Like I said, there's no right or wrong time to start, but you must start. You've got to start. So for anyone coming into a new environment, yes, it can be daunting, but everyone walked into the gym the first time. Yeah. Remember when you walked into the gym for the first time? I can remember when I did. I was 15.
Same.
And I went to this gym, the one that I was talking about. Okay. The very one that I was, weirdly, he didn't tell me to chop a leg off. I think he probably told me to eat more protein. But anyway, I walked in, and it was just, all right, I was 15, I was 16. I was a kickboxer. I perhaps had a little bit more confidence. I wasn't too worried. Yeah. But to walk into a gym and see all these muscly guys, it was a typical old-fashioned gym. There's Arnold Schwarzenegger on the poster there. There's a guy doing a pose on the poster there. You know, it was that type of gym. That was daunting for me. Yeah. So as a trainer, I remember that day. Every single time I get a new client, every single time I see it, I think this is why I was so upset when that guy said that to that overweight lady, because I know how it feels. And yes, it's almost 30 years ago when I first walked in, but I can still remember the nerves. So just do it. You will not regret it. You've just got to start. And even if you don't go to a gym, start moving. Even if it's a walk, even if it's going to the park, even if it's picking up a racket to play tennis, whatever it is, just do something.
Yeah, I'm like, in fact, I told my team, like when we set up FitCru, because initially I didn't have a team. It was just,
of course,
me alone.
Yeah.
2019, I remember I started telling people, you know what, I've educated myself. I've got a couple of certifications.
Yeah.
Let me help you out. I've seen you work out at the gym. I know you're not getting results. Let me just sort your food out. Give me a chance. No charges. Do it for a month. If you find results, then we can talk commercials. And anyways, commercials are also not that much. Just
of course,
1,000 rupees, 2,000 rupees. That's how we started off. So I didn't have a team. But then as soon as I got Cecilia, she's not there today, but as soon as I got Cecilia, the first employee, she's still with me since 4 years. I told her that the minute we get a call from anybody, this person who's called us has tried multiple things and it's not worked for them.
Yeah.
They're on the verge of giving up, right? Because they've not even met me.
Mm-hmm.
This is online. So this is probably their last resort.
Yeah.
Right?
Of course.
So we need to make sure that we answer that call with absolute enthusiasm and give them that assurance that we can help them. Not to get their money in, but just to get them that kind of comfort that this is not the end. There are multiple ways to get to where you want to get. We'll help you out for sure. But if we also can't help you out, we'll definitely put you in the right direction where you can see results.
Yeah.
Because it's so easy to break the human spirit, right? Especially with your health and fitness when somebody's overweight. Because I remember my journey. So I went to the gym because when I was 16, I got dumped by my first girlfriend. She cheated on me.
That adversity happened.
Oh, yeah.
That moment.
Yeah. So I went to the gym and I didn't have money. So I actually blackmailed my aunt. I was like, you know what? If you don't give me money to go to the gym, then I'll never come to your house. I swear to God. And she's my favorite aunt.
Drive. Good for you.
And she was like, okay, fine, whatever the charges. And I remember it was some 3,000-4,000 rupees for a month. And she paid it. And I went to the gym and I had absolutely no idea what to do. But I saw there was a treadmill. I saw these big guys lifting, doing these lateral delt raises.
Yeah.
And obviously now that I look back, they were also on anabolic. And like the same thing, Schwarzenegger doing his pose and all that. And I just hit the machines. I just did all the machines every day for a month till I completely broke down. And that's when I started speaking to trainers because I was like, I didn't have money to even buy the gym membership, right? But then eventually I was like, let's speak to a trainer. Maybe he might not try to sell something to me.
Yeah.
And he might just help me out. And that's what they did. They told me, okay, you don't need to have this. They gave me a CST, leg back bicep kind of split.
Good.
3 days a week and started doing that. And that's where the entire journey started. But yeah, there's no point getting intimidated. Like you just need to go there, just start. Do it for yourself.
I think it's important to talk about some advice for some trainers as well. Because again, I was at the start. I can remember going to my first freelance personal training role. Like I'd gone from a manager's role at a gym to being a freelancer, which of course is a scary jump. So if any new trainer is coming to a gym or becoming a new trainer, you need to pay your bills. You need to get your overhead sorted. So you need to literally action what you're doing. So what I found that worked for me when I was in this gym, this is just an example of how driven I was perhaps, or, I went from having 0 clients to having 96 clients in the space of 3 months. And I don't mean, this was when I was in the UK, when I first started. I don't mean I had 96 clients, so I was seeing every single person every day because that would have just been impossible. Although I was probably training like 11, 12 clients a day at that time. But I was that driven that I just knew that I had to make it work. And what I found that really worked for me, I'm not a good salesman at all. I'm really not. I can't sell anything. It's just not my style. I find sales very cringy. It's awkward for me. I'm terrible at business when it comes to that. But what I did, every single client that came in, I just stood on reception. I wasn't a receptionist. I just stood to the side of the reception. Every single client that came in, when they scanned in with their card or whatever it was a card at that time, their name would come up on the computer with their passport size photo. So I would just clock their name and I'd say, morning, Sarah, morning, Steve, whatever it is. have a good workout. And I'd leave it at that.
Yeah.
They'd go out, they'd come back. Time and time again, I keep doing this. When I saw Sarah, when I saw Steve around the gym, how's it going? Hi, just hello. That was it. Next time I saw Sarah, next time I saw Steve, what are you training today? Just breaking down the barriers and being there available. Next time I saw Steve, if you need a spot with that, just give me a shout, I'm here. Next time you're spot. And it's just building relationships.
Yep.
As a fitness trainer, you have to build relationships. If you've got no reputation, you're new to it, you haven't got people saying you should train with him, he's brilliant. If you're in this space right now, build relationships, because in business, I found that that's what works. It's not waiting for Sarah and Steve to come in, go to the gym and go, so, you're doing this wrong, Steve. Let me try and sell you my program that I can do. I can be the best trainer. It's not that's that. What they want. Steve does not want to hear that from you at all. He wants to, eventually, after 3-4 months of figuring it out, he will think, oh, you know what, I could do with a trainer. Drew. Every time I see Drew, he's saying hello. Yeah. I'll go speak with Drew. I've built a relationship with him. And that's all it is. And I see so many floor staff in India and in the UK, wherever I am, just standing around, doing nothing.
Like bouncers.
Literally, and it's uncomfortable. Yeah. And why do they always stand in the freeway area and get in everybody's way? They just stand there like that. Move. Get out of the way. Why are you here? There's a space in the corner. Gyms in India aren't big. I find that gyms in India, obviously space is an issue, but space being taken up by 5 gym members staff, it's just not necessary. Yeah. But my point, these people, rather than trying to build relationships, which is going to help their business in the future, they just stand around doing nothing. Yeah. And this is not how you're going to become a successful personal trainer. You've got to start with those early steps. So something as simple as saying hello to somebody as they walk in, that's all you need. Something as simple as, if someone's trying to take a picture of a selfie, this is in the era that we are, someone's trying to take a selfie in the mirror, just by saying, do you want me to take that picture, or do you want me to video you doing that? Yeah. That's a way of taking down a barrier and building a relationship. And I find that just gym floor staff aren't doing it, and they can. It's such a simple thing. And then from there, obviously, just keep educating yourself. And what is it with gym trainers not training themselves? I don't understand how you can be a trainer and look like you've never trained a day in your life.
So this is where I kind of have a different opinion. So I definitely feel that you should be training, for sure. You might not be in the best shape.
Yeah, okay.
You don't need to be in the best shape.
Fair.
Yeah, because of maybe you might not have the right amount of resources to provide for your nutrition. You might have different responsibilities, but you definitely need to train.
Yeah, of course.
You should be taking care of yourself, and you can look at a person and identify as that person is taking care of himself or not, versus somebody who's just in the business to just spot people and make money out of it.
So I'm not being unsympathetic. I'm definitely not. I understand that, coaches, as we get older, we get injured. Yeah. So that causes lack of training, can then put on weight. I get all this. I absolutely get it. But I'm sorry, you've got to lead from the front. And if you're not practicing what you preach, then you're not going to teach anybody. You're not going to inspire. A trainer's job is to educate, but it's also to inspire people to do the right thing, or be a fitter person, a better version of themselves. And if you're sat there with a big gut and
there's no excuse for that,
then you're not in the right job, because you don't believe in what you're selling. And you're selling fitness, but you're not fit. And I just don't get it. And I see it a lot. And when I flip it, and I think, if I was a prospective client and I'd look around the gym, I would be looking for the trainer that I've built a relationship with, someone who said hello to me. But I'd also be looking at, people's habits. Not necessarily, oh God, he's got 6-pack and he's got vascularity and everything's popping. That's how I want to look. I'm going to use him. That does work for some people. But I'm looking to see, how the trainer is responding with their clients that they're training. go to the same gym, Rhino Gym, I'll say it.
Yeah.
So some of the trainers there, often people will talk to me because they know I'm a trainer, and they will say, which trainer should I use? And it's
unfair, right?
I don't like saying you should use this trainer because I don't always know the trainer inside out. But I can tell a good trainer from a bad trainer pretty quickly. So I look around that gym, and honestly speak, if the trainer is just there to count reps, I will never recommend you.
Yeah.
If you're there counting with your client, 1, 2, 3, I will never recommend you. If I see a trainer on their phone, I will not recommend you. I should state, I use my phone during my sessions. If ever anybody sees me on my phone when I'm with a client, it's because I've got their workout there planned, ready, and I'm doing that. I'm not messaging anybody. I'm not on Facebook. And and this is me, I'm very conscious that when because I look at it for other people, if a trainer's on the phone, I'm like, oh, you're on frigging Instagram, or are you doing a workout? They're never doing a workout. I am, I promise, I'm always on my phone, but it's a workout. And also what I look for is, has a trainer planned the session?
Yeah.
What I mean by that, it's a good example. I've planned every single session that I do. You can look through my phone and you can see every single session that I've got. I've got what they're doing. I've got
weights,
what they did, what they lifted. I've got the feedback on how they performed. I've got a little bit of question, like how the session went, whether they were tired. And I've got it all on my phone, absolutely everything. So I do all that. I see so many trainers going into a session with zero preparation. They've literally just looked, okay, I've got so-and-so in at 10 o'clock, go to the session. All right, what should we train today?
What sword?
Yeah. What should we do? Like, you can't wing it. Your client deserves more than that.
Yeah.
So I have a plan, and yes, I can change that plan if the client isn't, like, something happens in a session where one piece has been used, or that client's a little more tired than I anticipated, whatever, I can change it. But I have a plan, I have a structure. I could absolutely wing a session. And I have, of course I have. But that I'm experienced enough to do it that my client would never know if I was winging a session.
Yeah.
If you're not experienced enough and you're just literally looking around going, so what do you want to do? Like, what kind of question is that for a client? What do you want to train today? That they should. My client comes to me and they say, "What are we doing?"
Yeah.
I'll tell you what you're doing. I've got one client. I'll name him because I find it really funny. Arjun Kapoor.
Mm-hmm.
At the start of every single session, what's the plan? If I haven't got an answer for him, I've got an answer for everybody. But if I haven't got an answer for him, I know that he's gonna look at me and go, "You're winging this." But straight away, I'll go, okay, so 5 minutes here, mobilization there, 4 exercises, this, then we'll do that. And I've got that answer ready for him.
Yeah.
If Arjun Kapoor went to some of these trainers that we're talking and said, what's the plan? I don't know, sir, what do you want to do? That is not the answer that he is looking for. He is not looking for that answer. He is there to be told what to do, because I know what he needs to do to achieve the goal that he wants to achieve. So trainers have to be prepared. If you're not, you're just preparing to fail. And that's the way it is.
And that's what then transcends into your client's mentality as well.
Yeah,
right?
of course. Yeah. If you're lapsadaisical, then they're going to be lapsadaisical.
And that's what will happen with the meal prep, with their hydration, with the sleep.
How you do anything is how you do everything.
Correct. Perfect. Yeah. So this is great. We also have prepped something. Have we? Did I tell you about it?
Nothing.
So we do this just because. So I'm more around food, right? So we make something just a little healthier version. I think we made some Nutella.
This is perfect for me. It's my day off my diet, so I can eat whatever I want today. So I'm so happy.
Or something, right?
I'll post this. I'm so happy.
No, but anyway, so what we try to do is, in FitCru, what we try to do is we practice a little bit of flexible dieting.
Yeah.
With a lot of volumetrics. Volumetric has we try to add more vegetables, fruits, so that people are staying full for longer, they're satiated, and they get the right protein intake as well.
So this is
our version of Nutella. So a Nutella toast.
So is it hazelnut?
Yeah, it's hazelnut. So we made this here,
And what we do is we give our clients our recipes. Is it good? Yeah?
Oh yeah. You know, Nutella is my weakness.
Is it? But I know it won't taste exactly like Nutella, but at least it's close enough.
No, it's good.
Yeah.
It's good.
So yeah, that's the entire idea.
Yeah, you can put it.
That's the entire idea. What we do is we try to educate people around food, tell them that there is a better way, better choice that you can make. And you might not have this every day, but at least on the days that you feel like having something, you can have it at home. And as far as FitCru is concerned, this is what we're doing right now. I always say this at the end of it because this is something that I learned in my journey. Initially, I used to just end the podcast abruptly. Yeah, that's how I am. Like I didn't know how you used to end things. So so to all our viewers, listeners, please like, share this, hit the follow button. This is something like, how personal trainers find it a little difficult to ask for payments at the end of the session or whatever.
I know.
So I find it difficult.
It's cringy, no?
Yes.
No. But you need that support. You're putting out great content. I'm happy and I'm hoping that I've given something that people will value.
That's exactly what
you need to ask for that help. The help is a like, the help is a follow, whatever it is. This is going to help you. You're helping people. Yeah, we're helping people.
And that's how we do it, right? Because if we have more people who are following us, we can get better sponsors on board. Maybe we can get better guests. We can grow the entire.
But more importantly, you get more eyeballs.
Yeah, that's what you want.
And the messages that you're giving and that we've discussed is for everybody. So the more people that can hear what we've said, the better.
Yes, perfect. So guys, please do that, and thank you.
Thank you very much for having me, and I hope everyone enjoys their fitness journey.
Yes.